Give you some more light in here.
Is this No Shave November or what's going on there?
Right, it is.
Wow.
Movember, baby.
Can you start with like a 3-week head start like that? That's an incredible
Dude,
stash.
I did a
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dodgeball Podcast. And holy crap, dare I say, this is episode 50. Tyler, thanks for hopping on, man, especially last minute because I reached out to you today. How you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, I was commenting earlier offline. Your stash, man, pretty epic. You said you've been growing this out because of baseball season for the Dodgers?
Yeah, Dodgers, and then shaved it right before they lost the World Series, and going with Movember, and it's a nice creepy porn stash or whatever you want to call it. So
yeah, when we see you this weekend, people will know it's pretty freaking epic.
Yeah,
caught me off guard. Well, crazy. I was so one thing I want to ask is the Tribune was done in December, right? It wasn't November last year.
It was February, right before Elite Round 1.
It was February.
Yeah, February.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been almost 8 months, 7 months.
That makes a lot more sense because I was looking at because I listened to the Tribune recap episode, which was 7. So I was like, how the heck did I get 7 episodes in December timeframe? I just couldn't put together the timeline, but February makes sense. I don't know why I thought November. Maybe because you've been saying this year's is in November. So
yeah,
but it's a funny thing because like in the recap, which I think was one of the highest listened episodes of season 2, it was episode 7, and I said the silliest thing, which was going to take a break from the regular podcasting and venture off into recaps. And if I can pinpoint when I messed up and got into super crazy recap mode, it was because of the Tribune and because of the response to it, and just the realization that while there are dozens, if not maybe a couple hundred people I want to interview throughout the podcast course, recaps, events, like there's just no shortage of content, and it's really cool to be able to kind of come back full circle almost, especially on the 50th episode, which I plan to do, 3-part series, this being the precap, what I can actually capture or acquire while I watch, and then the recap. So can't think of a better way to send off the season with that. So let's go ahead and dive right in, man. So yeah, listening to the 7th episode, it sounded like you were, I don't want to say you were unsure of yourself because you'd already had the event, but it sounded like you kind of you had a lot of takeaways, you had a lot of feedback. I was listening and looking at some of the changes you wanted to make. So let's go ahead and just start there off the bat. The biggest change, obviously, I think you said you gave credit to Derek Johnson for suggesting a draft. So that's the first one, right? Is draft format?
Yeah, I mean, I'd been thinking about it, and then Derek, definitely put it into words and on Facebook, and so it made sense. I wanted to do it, and especially when I came out with my player rankings, people were unhappy, upset, whatever. You hurt their ego, and so this is a great chance to, get a collection of the best players in the country and get them all in one space and get them all playing all 3 balls, which was originally, that was what we ranked every player based off, was it all 3 balls but combined. And so yeah, I mean, this is kind of, put your money where your mouth is type thing, and let's show us all what you have and see where you really stack up now. And we have, for our tournament tomorrow, this weekend, it's not tomorrow, we have 8 female teams of 6 players each, so 48 women, and then we've got 12 male teams of 6 guys each, so 72 men. And we've got some of the best players in the country. There was also a couple players that just couldn't make the trip, but definitely can argue we have arguably the best collection of players in the country, similar to Elite, similar to any other tournament, countrywide, UDC, all that stuff. So right in line with it all.
Now, was this what you first saw last year?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I first saw. I mean, the biggest difficulties was, and the annoyances, the stress of it was having to reach out individually, having to set timelines, having to sit there and set deadlines for players, saying, the first thing I would do is message them a ton of information because I wanted them to know. And I'm like, you need to read everything. Please read everything to this message. So it described what it was. It was going to be, 3 divisions. It was going to be a draft. And it's going to be a 2-day tournament. It's going to cost $100 a player to play.
Wow.
So I mean, it is a little expensive, and because I'm doing it for the whole country, you got players that had to budget, after a very expensive season of Elite, to sit there and budget more money for my tournament to come to LA and to do it here, especially for those out of state players. So yeah, it's just a lot of, deadlines, checking boxes, rechecking boxes, getting players to commit, then getting players to pay, and as the process went on over the last, 6 months, I think, we had players commit and then have to back out. We had players that paid and had to back out for whatever reasons. We had captains that were confirmed, lived in the area, but were part of Worlds, messed up their shoulders, had to back out. So I've had to deal with a lot leading up to this tournament. It's been difficult, but we're here and I'm glad, and I just cannot wait for the weekend, and I hope it goes really well. I'm a perfectionist, especially when I'm running things. So we'll see how it goes, but I do have, I get to play in this one, and I do have Joe Colella, who's part of Arsenal and just an awesome player, and he is going to be running the tournament for me.
Oh wow!
So it's good for him. It's good to have him. I do feel a little bummed because he can't play in it because he's helping me out. Obviously, he'd be able to play in it if he wasn't, but this is a good chance for him to kind of make a name for himself as far as running tournaments. He's got a lot of tools and skills besides just dodgeball. And I think he's going to be, assuming he wants to be, he's going to be a great asset to the dodgeball community moving forward with dodgeball tournaments and different things like that. He has already proven to me multiple times how he knows what he's talking about. He knows how to run a tournament. And I'm just looking forward to basically having a smooth tournament. So
awesome. Yeah. I mean, he really probably should benefit from this opportunity to make a name for himself. I've never heard of this guy. Joe Coella.
Oh gosh.
No, that's awesome. And it's kind of why, I don't know, maybe subconsciously, maybe deep down I knew, but we in the OG panel discussions, we talk about playing till the wheels fall off, and I mean, unless you're mid 30s to upper 30s, you shouldn't be talking like that at all. But when you are, you kind of see the end in sight, and you're kind of thinking how do I stay involved? And I think it's really cool. Not speaking for you, Joe, if you're listening, but there's an opportunity to still stay involved and still have an impact, doing stuff off the court, organizing tournaments. So, best of luck to you, man, and hope it goes well. Hope it's run, efficiently and holds up to par with last year's and with some of the better tournaments that we've been treated to these last 4 or 5 years. But it's good to see Joe participate in some capacity, even though we both know he'd probably rather be playing on that court.
Oh, I'm sure.
So appreciate the sacrifice there. Man, so how many teams did you have last year? And for the open, it was open. So how many?
It was
teams
open.
total?
So we had 16 total teams, and it was bring your own team. We did have a couple of almost all female teams, and then we played 2 divisions. We played no sting and foam. But we did do things differently. This year, I've just seen the progression of foam, and specifically, it's I love foam. It's been almost a 180 since the beginning of this year until now, where it's probably my favorite ball style. Wow. And that being said, it's so important to use the rules that should be standard. And so, with that said, I mean, this tournament and any tournament moving forward that I run on foam wise it's going to be all, 100% WDBF, World Dodgeball Federation, with their rules, their style, their court size, everything. And I say that because we didn't actually use all their rules for my tournament, back in February. We still used a form of elite rules. We did use the WDBF court size, but specifically we used their elite's burden rule, and it's just a different rule for WDBF, where anytime a ball is thrown, the burden resets. Even the team that has 4 or 5 balls, if the opposing team throws a ball to try and counter or snipe, the burden clock resets, and it makes it really easy for the refs, counting wise for sure. And it's just, like I said, it's just really important to follow a standardized form of rules. And
that's awesome. And I mean, just looking at like the hype that you've created, going from 16 teams in an open forum to both men's and women's divisions
20 teams.
Yeah, 20 teams total. And now you're pulling players from all the regions. It's pretty impressive, and it's pretty cool to see that this took off and it got the buy-in that you had talked about in the previous episode, almost a year ago. And granted, you said you had some people like kind of drop off or flake out, whatever, but for the most part, it sounds like this is going to be right up there with those premier tournaments that you were talking about. Again, not even a year ago. And looking at some of the things that you wanted to change, because I wanted to have this opportunity to talk about that. You said the first point, next one will definitely be both men's and women's divisions. So good job there, man. Made that happen. Yep. Maybe change the ball style. So last year, was it just foam? Or was it foam and no sting?
So last year it was no sting and foam.
So rubber's the difference this time.
Rubber's the difference this time. And I just, I included rubber because that's how we did the player rankings. That's when I asked people, that's how we did the player rankings, is we included foam, no sting, and 8.5. So it just made sense. I know moving forward that I'm not going to do 8.5 moving forward. As far as tournaments go, I'm going to let Elite do that. That makes sense. Elite is the premier 8.5 tournaments throughout the country, and that's not going to change. For the most part, anytime soon, knock on wood for Mark. But so I don't need to do that. What needs to continue, what needs to grow, and what there needs to be more tournaments of is no sting and foam, and specifically with open teams, being able to have 6 guys play. There is for the most part, there's no tournaments that, allows six guys on the same team, on the same court, against another team, whether it's no sting or whether it's foam. We see it in UDC, although that's only 5-on-5, and we see it in the WDBF. That's 6 guys for foam, but that's about it. There's no other tournaments, and so that's the goal. That's the goal moving forward, is being able to do what I just said. So
awesome. And so this is the only time we'll see 8.5, you said?
For the Tribune, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because
that's it.
You said maybe cloth, and I said, don't you dare say that word. I remember that very vividly.
We'll see. I mean, I think cloth is going to possibly grow. Maybe. People really want to get involved in the international scene. But if people don't feel like they want to do that, then it's hard, though. We already have 3 amazing ball styles, and that's really the truth of it. Every ball style that we play with, no sting, foam, 8.5, is really fun for a lot of people. And even those people who are kind of burnt out on 8.5 love no sting, love foam. Those who don't like foam love 8.5, love no sting. And it's hard to sit there and bring in a 4th ball into 3 ball styles that are really continuing to grow, or at least being consistent.
Yeah, that maybe 5 or 6 people in the nation like.
Yeah.
For now, anyway.
It's going to be tough.
I get chased by a pitchfork. So you said the rankings. Will this be like the basis of how the Tribune releases this coming year's rankings?
Um, Not really. I mean, we'll see. I've toyed with a lot of different ideas. I actually have yet to really poll people. This was the after this, I was planning on sending out a poll to basically 2 people per team for who only went to nationals, so that way they at least got to see everyone countrywide. And so that's what I was planning on doing. I still think I'm planning on doing that, although things have changed in a little bit here and there. But so yeah, I mean, it's not really. It's just hard, it's hard to sit there and say one tournament does this decide the player rankings, and then you also throw in the fact that no matter what I do, people are always going to disagree with it. People are going to get mad at it. People are going to blame me, even though
you're going to have at least like 80 comments.
Yeah, even though, and truthfully, I deflected more than I should have for the player rankings last year, and I think this year I might not. This year I might just be like, yep, my name's to it, whatever. Come at me, like, let's get this over with, because whatever.
Or get better. I mean,
yeah, get better.
Yeah, I mean, there's the argument that it's like, oh, it's a popularity contest, but it's also like, I mean, are people watching you light people up? Are people watching you catch everything? Are people seeing you at the Combine, on Team USA? Like, are you actually making big enough of a splash that other people recognize you? And I mean, it's when it comes to like ranking, you're just always going to have ego, but I guarantee you, man, some people are looking forward to it, and I double guarantee you, people who pretend like they don't care do care. They're going to look, they're going to find out they're on there, and that's just the way it is. Like, you're not going to satisfy everyone. I love the question that Chad Landrum had when he asked me to ask Mark, what's the hardest thing about keeping people happy? And I just said, to toot my own horn, he doesn't. Like, you don't keep everyone happy. It's just not possible.
No one's going to be happy.
Yeah, so you just gotta soldier on. You just gotta, refine as you go, learn things, take the feedback, but just understand that you can have the most perfect, mathematically sound, logic-based, incorporate algorithms just for the hell of it. Have this amazing ranking system, and you're gonna piss somebody off. It's just how it's gonna be. So, but
no doubt.
I like it. I couldn't care less about the millions of comments that happen. That's just social media. That's just what it does. But I like that you're starting something. And we kind of talked about this, in the past. Like, I feel like you're helping build a foundation for, dare I say it, like a Hall of Fame, or for some of the things that I feel are lacking in dodgeball. Like, we have the amazing caliber tournaments now. We have USA Dodgeball really stepping up the organizational game. But what do we have in terms of like stats and, just the stuff that's really gonna, I don't know, form the basis for like fantasy leagues, or just give you that extra element of dodgeball engagement. So yeah, I'm all for it.
And that's the cool thing too. For my tournament this weekend, we will have stats for both men and women for all divisions. It'll be split up in divisions, so you can sit there and I know nationals tried to do that a little bit. It was kind of difficult because some teams just didn't want to do it, didn't have time to do it, didn't have extra people to do it. And for this tournament, we're really focusing on, those teams that are not playing are going to be reffing and going to be helping with stats. And so hopefully we'll have a nice, accurate database after. And it'll be released to everyone so everyone can see. So that's something that definitely is going to happen this weekend. And that'll be good. I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. And is this 1 day or 2 day?
It's a 2 day. So
dang it.
Yeah, we will be 9 to 6 p.m., 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. both Saturday and Sunday, and all 3 divisions. Super excited. We're using elite rules for 8.5 and no sting. It'll be double elimination, and then for foam we're doing single elimination, but we're doing 2 10-minute halves. So, at least each team will get 20 minutes to play and kind of win as many games as they can in those 20 minutes. But,
It's a lot of dodgeball. I only say dang it because that alters my travel plans a little bit. But that's for me to worry about. I'm sure once I get there, I'll probably love every minute of it. I'm going to say this for a very long time. I absolutely loved watching the Bells tournament,
Nice.
Bells of the Ball. because it dawned on me that I was never a true spectator to anything. And I was so looking forward to going to Worlds, and that was taken from me. So I'm kind of hoping that I'll feel that same sense of like magic and happiness of just being a true spectator and just being able to actually watch dodgeball without having to anywhere to be. So yeah, it should be fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing it for myself instead of on the couch watching somebody's live stream. And also to piece together everything that you've done to add to this. So like even in your what things I would like to change section of these notes that you provided last year is, potentially doing a Tribune Nationals, maybe like Las Vegas 2-day tournament with no foam or no sting foam, 8.5, what have you. So it sounds like you really took this feedback to heart and actually acted on it, which again, I said that earlier, but I think that's really awesome. Are you going to the good things now? Will there be a food truck there?
There will not, but there will not. Part of it was logistics as far as the venue I'm at. It is a very packed venue on weekends.
I see.
And there's just no space for a food truck, basically. But what I will be doing, and I kind of stole this idea from the Seattle tournament that just happened over the weekend, and I also got in trouble for stealing someone's photo, Alicia DeManuel's photo of the food.
You don't upset her. Don't do that.
Yeah, no, don't. No, but it was wrong of me, so I should have given her credit. But anyways, the photo was of this food spread type thing, and we will be doing that. So there will be free food for the players. It's going to be basically snacks. It's going to be, croissants, nutritional bars, and it's going to be a lot of it: bananas, water, a veggie platter, cookies, some chips, some also non-nutritional stuff, but just things to get us through the day. And because it is tough, I'm giving the players a 30-minute lunch break. It's kind of difficult to figure out what they're going to eat, how they're going to get it. They can do Uber Eats or whatever, but even then they'd have to order it like during the end of the first division. So It's just difficult. That's always difficult with tournaments, is eating. And so we're going to provide that. So that'll be good.
That's awesome. Yeah. So no food truck, but food spread. That's pretty awesome. I mean, any attempt to think about stuff that's outside of dodgeball is pretty amazing.
And it's also, it's important to pamper the players. I think that's really one of the things I've learned the most this year. And I kind of gave Mark crap, and I shouldn't have, for Elite. But I just, player safety has been a lot on my mind, and that includes food, and that includes pampering the players, making sure that they're safe, making sure that they're happy with the product. I mean, this is a product. We are providing a product. These tournaments are a product. And the players, if we don't have a good product, the players aren't going to come. The players aren't going to play. So we have to provide that. And, some easy way to do that is spend $200 to $300 to $400 on some food that the players have already paid into, and give it back to them. Same thing with money. So for my tournament, we are going to have, there's 3 divisions. So there's going to be 3 division winners, as well as an overall tournament winner. And each division winner, along with the tournament winner, is going to win $600. So that is $2,400 given back to the players for the men. And this is going to be the same thing with the women, that they'll get $2,400. So we're giving back $4,800, of the money that we got for this tournament. So it's just one easy way to sit there and make sure that the players know that this is about them. It's their product. And if they're not happy, then we've got to change things. We've got to make sure that the majority is happy and content.
For sure. Kind of a definitely stirring the pot question. Do you I totally believe and agree with you when you say like we need to pamper the players and put together a good product. But do you feel like that's just going to contribute to the sense of entitlement that some of these players have and are developing, in terms of like not wanting to help ref, not wanting to help pick up, not wanting to do any of the many things that I know Jake and Mark are just pulling their hair out with frustration because of these high caliber, high level events where they're trying to put together a good product, but at the same time, it's like breeding this sense of like, I don't know what the word is other than entitlement. Do you feel like that's contributing to that or helping, or are you just not worried about that for this tournament?
I definitely, know that I agree with Mark and Jake. It does help to the entitlement aspect of things, but I just think you have to let the players know that they're cared about, and you have to verbalize it often. People need to be continually praised. Otherwise, things are going to die. People are going to stop doing what they do, and so this is one form of praising them. This is one form. They have to be cared about. So at the end of the day, I sit there and be like, yeah, some are going to feel entitled, but majority hopefully will be like, dude, this is a great tournament. I want to make sure that this continues to run. I've had some players who normally don't necessarily help out that much, and they've wanted to help out and all this other stuff. So, it's just been good to do, it's just important to make sure that players and stuff like that are cared about.
Yeah, like I said, man, before I even started the question, I totally agree with what you're doing, with what you mean, but I think maybe just because of, and this is no offense to Jake and Mark in any way, but I think just because of talking to them in depth for so many times in episodes, I don't want to say it's rubbing off on me, but I'm more aware of it now than I used to be, and I could just hear them potentially saying, "No, don't pamper them; they've had enough already." But that again, I don't want to stir the pot too much, because I agree, and with Ballast Day and what we wanted to do for Team USA was the same mentality. Like we care about them, we want to elevate them, we want to show them that they are valuable to us. So we try to put together these little swag packs, what have you, to treat them, to make them feel like how an athlete at a high caliber should feel. And a lot of that came from the fact, not to rag on the WDA, but like Team USA didn't even have their own water bottles yet. They're seeing other countries roll up with massage therapists, crowds, towels, all this other stuff, and it's just like, man, we can't let it happen like that. So, before I go on a tangent now, I guess I'll just have to see for myself. And again, the OG in me talking, like it's incredible to just have a good tournament now. To have a tournament where people are dedicated to having good refs, dedicated to stepping above and beyond just a court with balls, to trying to pamper players, like it's definitely an awesome and welcome change, and I'll say that till I'm blue in the face. But let's move on to the people that stood out, and I thought this was really cool because most of these players that you listed last episode, I had never heard of. So Connor Liu. Is he playing this time around?
Unfortunately, he's not. He was asked. He couldn't make it, couldn't swing it. He does live in LA. I think just work-wise as well as schedule-wise, he couldn't make it. But he would have been amazing, just as far, because he's a really good no-sting player. He's a really good foam player, and then he's just starting to dabble a little bit into 8.5. He's actually playing with me on a team for the LA Classic, and so that's where we'll really get to see him shine and stuff like that. But unfortunately, he couldn't make it this time. And then there's another player that I see that you have on the stood out, Daniel Ariano. He played for Team Mexico, and he actually hurt his shoulder from the foam balls. It's that ball switching,
right?
So he's going to be out too.
That's a bummer, but so that's a perfect segue though, and kind of what I was getting at. So you listed off a lot of players that ultimately became and I'd never heard of them before until that previous episode, and then they just watched as the year progressed, and they went and took UDC and caused a huge splash themselves, including Daniel Ariano, who I think got MVP or maybe should have.
He got MVP based off my recap. Okay. But it was everyone collectively was like, yeah, Daniel Ariano.
Yeah,
and he also won the award for the Dodgeball Tribune for Breakout Player of the Year.
Yeah, so like it sounded like you had a pretty good idea, or at least a good basis for who's gonna come out next year or the year or during the elite year and do really well. And Tad DeLugo, my God, that guy, he's my most favorite guy in the world now. I don't think I knew who he was before, prior to that. I think maybe I talked to him briefly in March, but
yeah. Tad's just been unfortunate. He's played dodgeball for a long time, and he's just been really unfortunate. Like, his friends are good players on good teams, and those same teams have just never had an extra opening for him for whatever reasons.
yeah.
He's good friends with Ryan Morris, good friends with Andrew Ketchum, and even then he'll sub on Titan, he'll sub with certain teams, but he kind of just gotten screwed over for countless years. And this next year he might, I'm pretty sure he's part of the new Crisis team, and finally he'll get to be on a good team, and we'll get to really see how he does with the spotlight directly on him. So
yeah, I think
but he's done great at the UDC, and in every style. So
yeah, if you have Tad in your lineup and you're not utilizing him, you're an idiot. But I don't think that's going to be a problem this coming year. But I just thought it was funny because, again, I was listening to this episode, as I've said several times already probably, but when you said Tad DeLugo, I was like, oh, I know who that is now. I know exactly. That guy is awesome, hilarious to talk to, and makes a great cactus, apparently.
Yep.
But yeah, it's really cool, again, seeing all this come full circle. But since we kind of moved into the players, let's just go ahead and get into the teams. So you said that this was several months in the making. Is that correct?
Yep.
So
I mean, I already had targeted, basically I even sent out the initial invite to the players by saying who I had as captains. So I went out and got my captains before I'd even invited any player besides the captain.
Nice.
So the original captains, I had, Justin Pine. I basically went down through my, the top 20 list of dodgeball period, and just basically went off that, and I wanted players from multiple regions. So, I got Pine, I originally had Justin Pine, Nate Kreider, Tim Fullerton, Vince Marchbanks, Andrew Ketchum, Lucas Boyle, Billy Schmidt. I had Matt Giovinco at one point. I'm trying to think who else. Eric Stone, Ryan Morris. So I had a lot of people, and it kind of ended up, dwindling down. Like I said, I had to lose some captains here and there. I had to end up losing Nate just last second because of, just kind of injuring his shoulder through Worlds and stuff like that. But the 12 captains we have now, the other ones I didn't mention, Vaughn Kelly, who plays on the Outsiders. They had a phenomenal year. He is by far, to me, he's the best. He's arguably the best player when you include leadership and all those other skills. He's the top player in the South right now. When you include everything, leadership and all that stuff, talent-wise, of course, too. But and then I have Billy, who is arguably one of the best in the East. I actually asked Mike McGee, and he just preferred not to. But he's, after this year, he's the best player in the East, no question. And then you still have Justin Pine, who was the best. Unfortunately, we lost Ketchum, who I would argue now is probably the best player in the West and in dodgeball in general. So we did lose him.
He's not going?
He's not going. He's not captaining. He just had to drop out. I know he's focusing on work right now, and he's had a long dodgeball season. So, unfortunately, with the timing of this, I had to be very smart with it, and I also had to give myself time. And because of that, ideally the perfect spot would have been in the middle, well, to the beginning or the middle of July, and I just couldn't swing it with such short notice. Because you can't interfere with UDC and you can't interfere with Elite. But I really felt like that beginning of July, and that even then though you're still interfering with Elite. Elite West round 3 was July 7th.
Well, you're also. So, do you think players would bow out of that just because they don't want to risk getting injured so close to the end of nationals?
Yeah, especially UDC. I mean, you're playing for $25,000 $20,000 first place prize. So, yeah, you worry about that for sure. So, I mean, it did make sense this year to do it after Worlds, and unfortunately, I had some really key players, Derek Johnson, who came up with the idea he had to drop out after Worlds because of his shoulder. Yeah, it sucked. Yeah, the suckiest part has been trying to replace these players, and as you lose some of the top talent, it overall you lose some talent within the actual tournament itself. But it's fine. We have a great 72 guys, got to have a great 48 women, and there's going to be plenty of glory to go around. So
for sure. And then I think the biggest thing is just making sure it happens, and you just build off of next year, and all those people that couldn't make it can probably make it next time. I'm trying to pull up the teams.
I'd probably go to the Facebook Dodgeball Tribune.
I'm doing it on my phone because I don't want to have the blasted
the noise. But I mean, we could go division by division if you want. What I think, or
we'll go. Oh, I see the food spread that you stole from Alicia.
From Alicia, yep.
All right, so I think I might have to. Are these in sequence, or is there like one big?
It's just sequence.
Okay. Actually, before that, how did the draft go? How was speaking
the draft
of herding
went good.
cats and getting everybody online, and that was live, right? I missed it, unfortunately.
Who?
Yes, the draft.
Yeah, the draft. Yeah, it was online. It was live. I did it through Twitch, and it worked out pretty well. It's not always easy to stream from your computer online, so I had to figure out some little kinks there, but. The draft went well, and it kind of went somewhat expected, as definitely actually no, it didn't. I wouldn't say that. It went expected as far as logistic wise, but definitely the picks and all that stuff was definitely, you could see, especially when I first started it, you had an idea of how that first round went, and by the time we actually drafted, it was just great. I mean, you'd seen people who had ridiculous years, like, for example, Eli Hashimoto. The guy is 17 years old, 18 years old, whatever, 17, I think, and just had a phenomenal Worlds. He had basically played himself into this. Not only did he play himself onto the team as an alternate, and then he played himself into the starting lineup from that alternate position. So,
incredible.
He ended up going second overall to Von Kelly, who, he plays with outsiders, but still. So he, and even Isidro Perez, I think he went third or fourth. So, you saw these guys who kind of had meteoric rises throughout the year. And now, you can realize, well, this is why that guy went. And even, Vince Marchbanks choosing Kyle Sanders. Kyle Sanders had he came on really strong basically at UDC. He played with MetaHumans, and then he had a phenomenal Elite Nationals. I think he played with GOAT for part of that, and I think he ended up leading he led co-ed, I think, with kills. They just utilized his arm. So you just had a lot of players that kind of figured things out as the year went on, and you can see why they were drafted in the first round. Another player that Billy chose first round was Matt Levine. Matt Levine had, he played on Hazard for UDC, and then at Elite, he played on Space Cadets, which had their crazy run where they finished fourth in Open 8.5, and that was definitely in part to Matt Levine. I think he had some. I would be surprised, or I wouldn't be surprised, but I bet you he probably led in elimination as far as catches and kills and stuff like that. So he just had a phenomenal Elite tournament, and you can see why he went, in the first round. And another guy too. Sorry, I got another guy, Keem Nguyen, who played on Outsiders. He had a phenomenal year. This guy was a nobody basically before the year started, and he was not a nobody to people in the East, but he was definitely a nobody in the people to the West. We had no idea who this guy was,
right?
And this guy has an extremely strong arm. Just a solid player, and he went first round to Glenn Spacer's team.
Wow.
So, and another guy, Xander Simos, who, we had seen in the West, but a lot of the East hadn't seen. So Brody Johnson had an amazing year. He finally made an all-star team in the West, in the crazy stacked West. He was first round to Jeff Giovinco. And then Sean Wheeler had an amazing year. You know, Sean Wheeler probably had, you know, if Brick Squad had beaten Doom in the semifinals, Sean Wheeler probably would have been MVP of UDC over Daniel Ariano. I mean, Brick Squad had an amazing run, and a lot of that was due to Sean Wheeler. We've seen him for a while now, but, you know, again. And then two other first rounders. The last two first rounders were Colin O'Brien and Alan Stott, and those guys are just extremely consistent. And Colin O'Brien specifically had an amazing year with Dynasty. So, yeah, I mean, you could see, you know, going down the list, you can see obviously the first rounders made sense. The second round is where it got crazy, and or just not crazy, but just interesting as to why, you know, certain people chose certain people. So, and a lot of it had to do with familiarity. You know, you saw a lot of West Coast captains choosing West Coast players. You saw a lot of North region players, or captains choosing North region players. So
makes sense.
You know,
that's what you know.
Yeah, most of the captains stuck with, you know, who they knew, and yeah.
Let's talk about some of these teams, because I did pull it up and I'm looking at women's first. I'm seeing team Kiki Kaudana. Yep,
Kaudana. She went with probably the most clutch player in all of women's dodgeball right now, and that's Leek Garospe.
Yep. Some definite insurance right there, and then she's got
Joanna Munoz is just an extremely underrated player. I mean, great corner, provides great, you know, just pace for Invasion, and it's part of the reason why Invasion won the national championship, is because obviously they had their big guns in Kate Gong, Relina Thomason, but Joanna was right there holding that line. She's a very underrated corner. And then, of course, you have, you know, the most, like I said, Leek, who's arguably the most, you know, clutch woman player in all of dodgeball. So.
And apparently somebody that can throw and is not afraid to fight and not just rely on catching.
Yeah, she's always looked at as her clutch catching, but, you know, she turned it on in the UDC, and
still amazing.
Stud.
Rebecca Chappell,
yeah.
That'd be interesting to see how she mixes with.
Her and Jen Woodley from the South, and you know, those are two out region players, and unfortunately, you know, just women players specifically outside of the West have a lot of stuff to prove, because unfortunately they just don't get a lot of opportunities to play in as many tournaments, or with as many women, or with as good of women, you know, as far as, you know, I mean, the whole iron sharpens iron is so true. You know, why is the West
freaking love that quote.
The best? Because we have the best players, you know, in the best collection of players. It's no secret. We sat there and swept Elite Nationals, sat there and swept UDC, at least first and second. So it's no secret that the West is the best, because we have the best players. And we're also the best because we play. When you play the best players, you get better. You know, so it'll be definitely interesting to see people like Rebecca, Jen Woodley, see if they can, you know, just shed away the negative stereotypes, I guess. We'll see.
And Rochelle Pasquale.
Yeah, she's had a great year. She's kind of jumped from team to team. I noticed. I think she probably started at LA Riot, and then she subbed for Money Shot one of the rounds, and then she subbed for what else did she sub for? I don't know, but she's a solid player. She's from Sacramento area.
I guess she's West as well. Well, let's go on to Team Cook right now. Just
I mean,
I'm not gonna give my. Oh man, I'm scrolling down. Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna give my pick yet. Let's go down to Team Cook. So we got Ashley Cook, who is.
Ashley Cook. Yeah, I mean, she is. You know,
amazing,
if you think about how these player rankings and how they were last year, I mean, I think Ashley Cook was ranked 15th or 14th. I mean, this year, based off her year, she's top 2. I mean, top 2 player in all of dodgeball. She's had an incredible year, and she's proven that she is arguably the best player in all of dodgeball for women. So, you just incredible. I mean, she won MVP at Worlds. She won the showdown at Elite Nationals. She helped Anarchy in the East win that series. She's just been phenomenal, and it's because of her. So that her teams have won a lot of it. So that, and then she picks Crystal Briones first round. Crystal's been amazing in the West. She won Rookie of the Year for the Tribune Awards. You got Lizzie Hodere, who's been amazing for Witness, really a glue person. Nina Fiora, who is an amazing catcher and just one of the smartest players. Elena Meeks, Sam Girardi. Sam Girardi really helped Precision challenge Anarchy for the series. I think they got second overall, and they did win one of the rounds, and Sam Girardi played ridiculous. So they have a very solid team.
I want to go back to Nina and just talk about like her experience and how long she's been around and what that's going to bring to this team.
I mean, she's former USA player. She was an alternate this year. I mean, she just brings ton of experience, ton of knowledge. I don't know if there's any woman that works harder than she does physically, working out wise, all that stuff. I mean, there's a lot of women that are working their tails off, but she's definitely at the top as well. So
yeah, that's gonna be a good lineup too. Team, I'm always gonna just butcher her name. Donche Azalia. Yeah, I mean Azalia. She took Cece Innerstrom, who, like another player, she actually wasn't ranked in the top 30 because she kind of has been on and off, but this year she basically showed up every round, and she has propelled herself into, she's a top 5 player in all of dodgeball. So her Azalia is a top 5 or top 10 player in all of dodgeball, women's dodgeball. So they're going to be a really solid team. You got Nicole Chase in there, and
you got Nicole Chasen, Becca, Alex Jensen, Aaron Gabbard. I think this team will be a very strong foam team, specifically foam, and then we'll see how they do with the other ones. But I mean, it's hard for me to tell a woman because obviously I don't play them, but I see them from afar, and I just you see the first 4. Becca has played foam a lot. Aaron plays foam. So they're going to be solid for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm most looking forward to. Is I can actually just absorb everything and just watch this, and then maybe give you what I saw wherever I'm camped out. But moving on to Team Hots, I'm actually really glad Emily's going to be there because it's going to be fun actually watching her play. Because obviously she wasn't activated for women's, but I'm excited to see what she can bring. And then
and she went with Sam. Her first pick was Samantha Greco, who
dangerous.
And to be honest, from my point of view, she got screwed over in not making Team USA. She was also an alternate. She's a phenomenal player, great catcher, great thrower. Casey Reed is very underrated. She was part of the Love Tap, part of the reason why they won the series. She's had a great year and just continues to get better. And I think she's only playing for like 2 years. Like she's going to be a really solid player coming up. Ania Gaskell, solid LA player. And then they have Jackie Cruz and MJ Rios. Again, talking about a ton of veteranship. So we'll see how well they do. I think they're going to have a little bit of trouble just because they might lack a little bit in the arms race, so to speak. But we'll see.
So let's back up real quick back to Team Donche. Alex Jensen, West Coast player, right?
Yep, West Coast player. She played on Fuego, and she was a big part of that team, doing well.
Okay, and Aaron, sorry.
Aaron Gabbard. She actually had a phenomenal round 3. She kind of has floated around a little bit, subbed here and there, but she played with Anarchy for round 3 for the COA team.
Was she a West Coast player, or?
She's a West Coast player, yeah.
Okay.
But she had 1 or 2 really clutch catches for Anarchy, which helped them win the COED 8.5 at round 3, which had been dominated by Rise and Rain Bros. So
going to Jackie Cruz and MJ
Rios. MJ has been amazing. She's probably honestly the best pick of the last round as far as just what how long she's playing, her experience, her skills and ability. solid player. Jackie Cruz, I don't know as well, but she plays for Ride or Die, and she's been a solid player for them.
So we got a North player then for Jackie.
Kind of. Well, no, I mean she's from North California.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about MJ, West Coast player?
MJ, yeah, she plays on Trophy Wives.
Gotcha. Trying to get a feel for like who is the most.
Yeah,
regional.
and Neha plays for Beavers, West Coast. So.
Gotcha.
She was a big arm for them. So. Yeah, this team is actually Emily is she's the East region, and then she's got 5 West Coast players. So.
That's gonna be interesting. So let's go down to Team Kramer.
Team Kramer. I love this team. This team is probably they're really, really solid. This team, I think, definitely has a chance to win the overall champion. Brenda has turned it on. She was the breakout player of the year for Dodgeball Tribune. Tiffany Paget was a finalist for both MVP in No Sting and 8.5. She has just had an incredible year. You have Tanya Kaiser, who's had a really good year, solid year. And then you have, Kirsten Bell, who was top 20 player in the West. You've got Avery Snow, who kind of jumped around a little bit, but she's really she's a solid player. Plays in the Northern California. Sorry, Northern California. Played up with the Sacramento girls or San Jose girls, and solid arm. And then you got Bev Rivas, who's kind of jumped around. Because she's from the East Coast, but she played with Fuego this year, and she's a solid player too. So I really like Team Kramer. Brenda did a really good job, and Brenda, she literally took over the captainship, I think 2 days before the draft. Paige Peterson, who's getting her nursing, getting her certificate to be a nurse, had basically a make or break final on Friday, couldn't do it. And it was like, gosh darn it. So I had to go through the whole thing of like, can you please captain? And oh man, Brenda is my savior.
I mean, she doesn't back away from a challenge. She is amazing.
I love Brenda. I love her attitude, everything. She's just great. So,
man, that might be where my vote goes. We'll see. Bev Rivas, I've heard a lot about her in several regions from the South, and I think also in the East.
Just quiet. She's quietly, just quiet. She's very quiet, but she's very solid. She does things under the radar. That's what I mean by quiet. So.
Yep. Moving on to Team London, obviously Brianna.
Brianna, got Lauren Hoffman. So Brianna stuck with her 2 other money shot players besides Brenda, who's a captain, with Heidi Chambers and Katie Walker, solid players. So you got half of money shot right there, and they got second at Elite Nationals this year. They won Elite Nationals the year before. Ton of experience. They'll do really well. They picked, first round picked Lauren Hoffman, who was arguably Pop That's best player at times this year. She kind of tailed off a little bit at the end of the year, but she had an impressive year, an amazing thrower, amazing catcher. I say that she didn't, tail off. I say that just because whether she tailed off or whether she kind of got screwed over, she ended up being an alternate for Team USA when, maybe she should have made it, but she's an amazing player, top 10 player. So, and then you have Heidi Chu from Havoc. She played Havoc, but she also played Ride or Die.
Okay.
So I think she's from San Jose, Sacramento area. Pretty sure.
That'd be my guess. Then, she's coming from Havoc.
And then Alicia Ellis from the South, Weapons of Mass Destruction. So
she even back in the States, like I just see Germany and Instagram, like other nations or other countries that she's been in.
Yeah, I hope she is. Otherwise, I have to find another replacement.
That's funny. So she's from the South, Weapons of Mass Destruction.
Yep. Yeah, and they'll be really solid next year for the South. So, assuming they all stay together. So
that's awesome. Moving on to Team Rhodia, and this is where I might.
Yeah, I mean, again, you got first round, first pick Karina Mezqua. That would have been my first round pick, first overall pick. Again, she's had an incredible year. Her and Ashley Cook are the top 2 women in dodgeball right now. So
Yeah, but pairing Rachel and Karina's throw together, that's some firepower already.
Yeah, well, I mean, you saw it if you got to watch the stream or anything for Worlds, you saw it. I mean, those two girls dominated, along with Cece and Ashley Cook and a couple others, but they were big parts of that team. And then you bring on Marjan Samadi, who is really smart, played with Witness, solid player. She's played on Team USA before. She's played on, as an alternate. So solid player. You got Sammy Barrett, who plays on Anarchy, and she's been really improving. One of the better women in the East. So she's been figuring things out too, and she has a good boyfriend mentor in Mike McGee. So, and then you have Ryan Johnson, who's a West Coast player, and she played on Fuego. It's been really good. She's been always really good. She just, I think, was it 2 or 3 years ago? That's when she finally started playing Elite or more competitively, but solid player. And then you got Kathy Martinez, who played with Outsiders and Southern Glory, I think, for the South. But she's a great catcher, really underrated. And I think people will be a little bit surprised by her because she's a solid catcher and she's just a good team player. So,
man, scary. And then last but definitely not least is Team Thomason with Merlina, obviously.
Yeah, and she went with Merlina's, obviously she's a top 5, top 10 player in all of dodgeball, women's dodgeball. She went with Katie Sanchez, so kept that invasion thing going.
Katie Sanchez won women's MVP for Elite, right? For nationals.
Yeah, I think she did. I think she won.
No big deal there. Just a small little award there. On top of that shelf of awards that probably cast a shadow on her husband.
Yep.
Have you seen that picture by any chance?
Which one?
So there's a picture of Katie's trophy haul.
Oh gosh, no, I haven't.
It's not just dodgeball. I think it's also maybe softball. It could just be dodgeball, but I mean, a lot of it is dodgeball stuff, and it's just medals and trophies and all this other stuff. And I think Tony Sanchez
she's played
has
so long. I think she was part of. She's one of the OGs, right?
Oh, definitely, without a doubt.
She played with Ball Busters, I think, right?
Yeah,
way back in the day. So
the earliest
no surprise there that she has a ton of trophies.
Yeah, the earliest.
And she's a big reason why.
2009, I think, is when I saw her for the first time.
Yeah.
But
then you have Erica Schmidt playing with them, who's Pop That's co-captain and just a very smart, solid player. Can just rally any team. Emmy Zappa from Fuego has had an incredible year. This is basically her first year in Elite, I think, for the most part, and she's just played really well. Alem Altwanian, I can't pronounce it, but LM, she's great thrower, West Coast player, played on Trophy Wives. And then Amanda Natalie, and she did not play pretty much the whole year because she had an ACL. So, but she plays on KO. And
this is Amanda Ashley, right?
Yeah, I think her Facebook tag is Amanda Ashley, but it's Amanda Natalie.
Do that. You think you know somebody after a year of talking to them and they change their name?
I know.
I was like, wait, I know this person.
Well, then you have some of these women who go by their first and last name on Facebook is actually their middle name. Their last name is their middle name. Samantha Ashley. There's 5 Samantha Ashleys.
That's awesome. Amanda Ashley, or Natalie, I'll have to talk to you about that later, but she's been amazing at helping me understand the East a lot more. And it's funny. That's not funny. It's kind of, I don't know what the words are. I feel bad because every time I would recap with her, like, hey, how's your knee? Can you play now? No. Oh, bummer. And then I saw her at Nationals, like, oh, are you playing, without realizing or remembering she's still recovering. So it'd be really cool it's going to be cool seeing her actually get to play again and being able to follow her.
Yeah, especially because, she probably shouldn't have been the last round pick, or in the last round but she's just been injured. So kind of, you have the captains not knowing what they're totally getting, but
that
she's
could be
a solid player.
A really good thing though for
totally.
Thomason. So who would you put your money on?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I love Brenda's team. I really like Brenda Kramer's team with, Brenda, Tiffany, Tanya. Those 3 are really solid. I I don't even know. I mean, I like. There's. It's hard. I mean, I don't play women, so I'm speaking from a man's point of view. But I look at Brenda's team. I look at Rachel's team, Rachel Rodia, and I look at Azalea's team, Team Donche. I think it's Donche. Ashley Cook's team. I don't know. I like Ashley Cook's team for no sting, probably. I definitely like Brenda's team for 8.5. That's going to be a really great 8.5 team.
I'm going to put Rhodia for 8.5. No, just kidding. I'm sorry. Thomason,
that's right. Yeah.
Although,
yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Heaven help you if you're throwing an 8.5 ball to leak. One of you is going down. Maybe two of you. Yeah. If you group throw.
I think I like London's team for no sting. Brianna and Lauren and Heidi and Katie. Yeah, that's and then Heidi and then Alicia. Jeez, yeah. Team London.
All right,
that might be no sting winner.
So no sting is Team London. Who is your 8.5? Team Kramer?
Yeah, probably Team Kramer.
And foam.
Oh gosh, now you're making me
totally putting you on the spot.
I'll go Team Donche for foam.
See.
Donche for foam, Kramer for 8.5, London for no sting, and I bet you Kramer overall. We'll see. Yeah, we should put a little money wager to this.
I'm down. Let's do it.
We'll see. I have all these women just gonna be mad at me. Why did you say my team?
Well, I mean, the ones that you picked aren't gonna be, so. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll talk offline about our bet. I got to think about this some more, but overall...
Don't count out Ashley Cook's team, though. Ashley Cook, she's been incredible. So
I was going to say Team Cook.
I didn't even say Ashley Cook, but...
I was going to say Cook is overall my pick. Just looking at the versatility of this team.
If I were playing her, I would just throw like 4 balls at her and then lose all my balls, but at least I get her out.
If you don't, you're kind of screwed, but
yeah,
it's a risk you gotta take.
To be honest, she probably would stay alive even getting 4 balls thrown at her.
Somehow. Oh man, do we even want to venture into the men's teams?
Yeah, but let's do it less in depth.
Yeah, so let's just go. We'll go team by team, and you give me the first player that comes to mind because we know about them. These aren't.
Yeah. So I mean, Team Bailey. If you're looking at that one.
Yep, Team Bailey is the first one up.
I think they'll be a decently. I think they'll be a surprise, but I think the star-ish player, and who they should, spotlight is definitely Chris DeJesus. He's had a great year, and he's just continually shown that he can hang. He can hang for sure, and he's got a lot to prove. Still extremely young. I bet you he's probably got the hand size of Michael Jordan, catches everything. So
yeah, I would definitely caution throwing against him. My pick would have been Kevin Bailey just because of whatever.
Yeah, it would be, except it's not pinch. Sorry, Kevin, but it's not pinch. You're the best player in pinch, and I'll gladly give you that title. But unfortunately, to this team would definitely be the best pinch team. But there's no pinch.
Oh yeah, so. Mark Tripietti pinching at me. No, thank you.
Oh yeah, no
hard
thanks.
Pass. Hard
don't want to
pass.
see Mark. Don't want to see any of those guys throw a pinch ball at me. That would just crush me. So.
All right, so let's go to Team Boyle.
Team Boyle is probably your best no sting team. You got
there's Tad,
Trevion, Tad, Lucas. Lucas is an amazing player. You saw, if you ever questioned. Well, you shouldn't have ever questioned Lucas's ability, but the fact that he was the coach of the Team USA team, and the fact that you watched him this year, he left Rainbows, started his own team in Fortune, and they finished ahead of Rainbows, and finished in the top 4 in the insanely stacked West. that should leave you no doubt that this guy not only knows how to put together a team, but knows how to coach a team, and then obviously fit in with a team. So
definitely speaks to, and I'm glad you said that because you pretty much said what I was going to say about his team. Speaks to how important the mental aspect goes in terms of strategy,
Totally.
in terms of understanding what your strengths and weaknesses are, and being able to develop that team chemistry and contribution so that everyone's doing their part and not one person's doing 90% of the throwing or the catching, what have you. So that's going to be a very interesting team to see. I wonder, though, with Michael Koiv on that team, I think he's just going to disrupt everything and bring that team down because that's all he does. He's a terrible person, and I feel for that team. It's a shame. It's a shame because you have good people like Tad DeLugo and Brett Cobble on there, and I never met Trevin. But I think with the exception Trevion, yeah, with the exception of Koiv, they're all great people. Moving on.
Oh, yeah, moving on.
Just kidding. No, that's going to be interesting. Man, that's going to be a good team.
Yeah. I think Koiv in Combine, I think he led every player in catches.
Really?
In foam, and that's not even his best ball. So
he's probably wearing glue or something.
Watch out.
Man, yeah, that's going to be a good team. Team Fullerton.
Yeah, this is my team. So
okay, looks like Rise
this is
right there.
Half Rise, yeah. Half Rise. And Eric Jones has played on Rise.
I was going to say that's like
in the past. So yeah,
got some speed with DeMonte. This could be fun seeing him play now.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see what. I mean, DeMonte's a great player. He's had a great year. He's really shown that he's way more than just a catcher. He's shown off his arm. He helped lead Metahumans, like I said, with Kyle Sander to almost an upset of Doom. Actually, probably not almost, but he definitely challenged Doom. So they're just going to be. I think we have a solid team. I think we're very consistent players. I think we all have team players, so we'll see. That's all I'm willing to say about my team. But
going back to
I'm confident for sure.
Going back, and you can probably speak to this. Going back to Lucas and his ability to bring teams together. I think Tim is a great on the court coach. I could be wrong, but any the one or two times I've played
with Fullerton the last 2 years. One of the best minds in all of dodgeball. One of the best play callers on the court. That I've played with a lot of people, and it's just so hard to think what's the right play, what's the right call at the right time. And it's the reason why Rise has won for so many years is because of Tim, because of Tim's play calling ability in the moment. You've got 10 seconds to make a call, and he knows what to do. And there's just few people that can do that as well as he does. So there's the reason why his teams are always at the top, and hopefully we'll be at the top as well.
I would be surprised, not putting you on the spot because you're on this team, but I would be surprised to see a team with Tim Fullerton on there that's not top three from the beginning. Team Giovinco.
I think this team is a very strong, heavy 8.5 team. His first 3 picks are extremely strong 8.5 players. Brody, Ryan Haley, probably one of the best 8.5 catchers in all of dodgeball. Sean Anderson, one of the strongest arms.
Oh, he's definitely got a cannon.
Brody has played a ridiculous year, so they'll be really solid. You got Brian Heimel, and then David O'Brien. So they've got a really solid crew. But yeah, I think for them, I see them winning 8.5, but we'll see.
Yeah,
or getting close to it.
I feel like David's going to do a lot of good work. He has a very confusing, wicked throw.
Yeah, definitely. Doesn't look like he's throwing at you, and then all of a sudden that ball comes right at you, and you're like, David?
Now I'm walking off to the freaking players queue. Team Kelly.
And then Jeff,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, Jeff. You're good. Vaughn Kelly, yeah.
Actually, no, what were we going to say about Jeff? Because I don't know him too well, so.
Oh, Jeff Kelly. Jeff Giovinco.
Kelly.
He's awesome. He's probably one of the quickest. I mean, he's the top, the youngest, besides Mike McGee, he is, the top youngest player in the East. I think he's only like 20, something like that.
Goodness, he's
21,
kids. He's
maybe.
Children.
Little children. He's played it for so many years because of his brothers, Matt and Drew. And he's just a really solid player. I mean, just got a cannon of an arm. So
Yeah, and
for the size he is and quick, everything. So he's a solid captain. I know I kind of threw him under there, and he was willing to be a captain. I really wanted East representation, so that was part of the reason. But
right.
Jeff is a solid, great East Coast player, and don't sleep on him. So
that's awesome. And his two twin brothers or his older brothers, being the twins, are also one of the most notable players in dodgeball. So he's got some great mentorship to fall on.
It's in his blood.
It'd be fun to watch. Okay, now going on to Team Kelly, but you mentioned Vaughn unfortunately bowed out. So who's taking over for him?
I mean, well, this is half. We have Fullerton, which is half Rise. We've got Team Kelly, which is half Outsiders.
Yep.
And then he adds a solid Casey Moses, who's top 10 in the West, at least last player rankings. Obviously, the player rankings have changed. We already know this, but still solid player. Andy Smith. Those two bring, and Casey and Andy are such huge glue guys. So, obviously you got the big names in Vaughn and Eli and Cody, and the big arms as well, and Cody and Eli, but Casey and Andy are clearly no slouches. Carlos Montoya, I don't know too much about, but he'll be all right too.
He's picked for a reason. Did you say Vaughn Kelly's not going to make it, or he's going to make it?
What do you mean? He's playing.
Oh, okay. I must have misheard you. I thought you said he wasn't going to make it. So.
No, I think I said Derek Johnson.
Oh, okay. My fault. Well, good. I'm glad Vaughn's going to make it, because now I can watch him meditate before a game like I wanted to. Team Marchbanks.
Team Marchbanks.
Never heard of Vince Marchbanks before. No idea who that guy is. Or Vince, Kyle Sander.
Yeah.
That's a good team.
Solid. Dylan Clark. Love that guy. He's on my team now. Him and Randy. That's going to be a really solid team. I think they have a really good chance to win no sting. So we'll see. But I love Jim. Jim is the ultimate team player. Frankie, great team player. Yeah.
I don't know. I look at, oh man, Jim with Vince.
They played together. We played together a few times for sure.
It's gonna be interesting.
Familiar.
Dylan Clark Oden, terrible guy. Worse.
Dylan's great. Amazing foam player. Strong, no sting at 8.5 player. So.
Yeah, no, he's well rounded. Good player.
Very well rounded. Yeah.
Team Miller, Anthony, pretty solid guy.
Miller, yeah. Mike McGee. I mean, you can't go wrong with arguably the best player in dodgeball. He's or second best player behind Ketchum. So, and we saw it at Worlds. He's unbelievable. He is, I mean, hands down. I was going to be really mad if Anthony did not pick Mike McGee first overall. So,
I don't really let that not happen.
You got some other South guys, and he stuck. Anthony basically went with South and East. This is half East and half South. So
that's cool. Another chance for the different regions to step up and
and Anthony was originally a West Coast player. So nice. There you
go. Josh Ty, that guy's the best.
I'll be curious. I want to see how Josh does. He's going to be, he's definitely made a name for himself in 8.5, and I think he'll actually surprise some people in no sting and foam. So we'll see.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, if it matters, but I don't think 8.5 is his go-to. I could be wrong.
Oh, really?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure I thought he started in 8.5 with all the New York guys, and and I think he originally started. The first time that I got introduced to him was in the Sin City, way back when, and he had a really solid team in 8.5. So I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe memories serve me incorrectly. But that's, like I said, somebody feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But moving on to Team Morris. Holy crap.
Team Morris, yeah, this is a very, very, very strong, scary 8.5 team, I would say, for sure. Now, I definitely think they'll compete in everything, but I could definitely see them, winning 8.5. We'll see. But
I mean,
have some really strong arms.
Put Brandon and Andy in the middle with Ryan in any corner, and you're yeah. Then
you got Dylan Fettig, who sat there and still had that, the This is 2 Elite Nationals ago, but still had a 5-on-1 that he won against Shooters. So.
What's with these dynasty guys and their 5-on-1s?
Yeah, they're just 5-on-1s. Yeah, that's right. Dylan 2 years ago, and then Kevin Bailey this last year.
It's like a rite of passage to be on that team or something. Team Pine.
Team Pine. He lost Cole. Unfortunately, he lost Cole. Cole had a bow out, and his brother Kale is going to be playing in his place. So they have a solid team. I think they'll be really good.
Can't be mad at that. Kale is an amazing person.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Maybe. I don't know. He flipped me off last time I saw him. So
went with Brandon Kelly, who's just one of the most clutch players in all of dodgeball. So
Miles,
actually,
very calculating.
That's the funny thing. You've got Justin Pine, who's arguably one of the most clutch players in all of dodgeball. You've got Brandon Kelly, who's one of the, arguably one of the best clutch players in all of dodgeball. I would argue Kale as well. So yeah, you've got a lot of clutch factorness into that team, Pine.
I've heard a lot of Cliff Ferry in the most recent episodes, so I'm curious to see what he brings to the table.
Yeah, he's a solid West player for sure.
And then Miles Brody, smart, calculating, sneaky, very sneaky.
Really insanely quick release. So.
Yep. Team Schmidt,
another really solid team.
There's Matt Levine that you were talking about.
Matt Levine, Frank, super solid. Frank's been playing with Doom for the last year plus. Brett Baxter is now in place for Davey Blake. Oh, okay. So that was a pretty nice trade replacement. Yeah. And they'll be solid. Trevor Nordberg, Armando Valdez. They have a lot of experience. He stuck with Anarchy for some of that. So
you can't be mad if you pick up Brett.
Yeah.
That kind of, you're like, all right, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Team Spacer. This is Keem Nguyen that you're talking about, Kim?
Keem Nguyen. Just has a ridiculous arm. You got Anthony, who's got a solid arm and ridiculous hands. You got Marcus, who's got ridiculous hands. Kelvin Costner, a great arm. He's been playing Elite and UDC. Kelvin Costner. Well, there's no N. I misspelled. Sorry.
Oh, how dare you.
Sorry, Kelvin. But he's, very solid and very versatile, which a lot of people don't know that about him. And then you got Marco, who is an upcoming West Coast player, been really solid. And, he can play all 3 ball styles. So it's going to be huge.
Yeah, I feel like the teams that have the most versatile players, not just cannons for rubber or can make catches for a certain ball. If you can play good dodgeball all around, that's probably going to dictate who wins.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, it's not going to be enough to throw 80 miles an hour. Like you have to bring more to the table. Yep. And then last but not least, Team Stone.
Team Stone, yeah, he went with Isidro, who has been slowly but surely making his way into the top 10 overall players.
Rest in peace, anyone that throws to that guy.
Yeah.
90% of the time.
Well, not only that, but try being on the other end of a throw.
Thanks. No.
He throws. He's ridiculous.
Rubber, maybe. Foam, absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, foam, you don't even see it. It's going to 3 guys to your right, and all of a sudden, it's directly on your face.
Or hooks you in the back of the kneecap. Just don't understand, but it works.
Yep. And then he went with Mikey Hashimoto, who has had an incredible year. I think he was runner-up for the Showdown. Had some awesome clutch plays in the South. And then you got Chris Wheeler, who has just really been solid for Brick Squad over the years and over this year. And that, again, another team that can play, Mark Acom, Scott Bronson. You got guys who can play every single ball style. So this team, don't sleep on this team either. So
Mark Acom, he said he was going to burn your tournament down. Are you ready for that?
I hope so. I love Mark.
This is his chance to get all his frustration
He's gotten
out.
some flack, but I love Mark. Mark's a great dude.
Oh man, please card him at least once, just for fun.
We need him too. Start being nice to him.
I am nothing but a
I know.
good dude to that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many teams. I'm just gonna pick mine overall, and I'm gonna go with Fullerton.
You think Fullerton? You think my team? Don't tell anyone.
I'm putting a lot on Tim.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
Because
this is just between me and you.
Well, it's out. When this airs, it's Friday night. People are hopefully in bed by now or on their way. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Don't put that evil on me. Man, this could be exciting.
Should we go over who we think we're going to win each division really quick?
Yeah, if you want to. I have no idea. That's why I just said Fullerton all across because of his
ability to lead a team.
I think because you have it's not enough to be versatile in all three divisions, but it's also can you get 5 players that you may not have ever played before together or played with before together. And I feel like between Lucas and Tim, I think like those 2 teams are going to be the ones that make it happen. No offense to any of the other captains here, but that's going to say a lot about how these teams do. If you can rein in these other 5 players, if you can mix these styles, and if you can quickly analyze where your strengths are and how you're going to pick apart the other teams, I think that's going to make the biggest difference. Because everyone's already proven their worth in foam, no sting, and rubber. So, yeah, Team Fullerton, Team Boyle for me. So, yeah, those are my 2, like I said. But how about you? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Boyle has a very, very, very solid team. I really like his team a lot. I really like my team a lot, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, I could definitely see Marchbanks' team winning no sting. Definitely can see Schmidt's team, Morris, and Giovinco winning 8.5. We'll see though.
Yeah.
Don't count us out either. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. It's really tough. I have no idea how teams are going to play, so I'm going to leave it at that.
That's what you want, though. You want it to be undecided, any man's game, any man.
And I probably see Stone's team winning foam. You got 2 guys who know
they're just
everything there is to know about foam. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, that's definitely a lot has happened since we last spoke in terms of like how you've developed this, how it's matched your vision. One thing I kind of teased, and I don't know how much we want to go in depth about this, but what I see happening is slowly laying the groundwork for a Hall of Fame. And I know we kind of talked about this in the past. All I want to say to that is stay tuned. Unless you have anything you want to say, maybe.
Sorry, say that again. You only have.
All I want to say about the Hall of Fame is just to stay tuned, because I think.
Stay tuned. Yeah, there needs to be a Hall of Fame. I mean, this is a sport. There needs to be a legitimate Hall of Fame, one where a certain somebody doesn't just say they're in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Sorry,
someone.
Certain someone has already said that he's in the Hall of Fame, and apparently he's the only one in. But no, yeah, there needs to be a Hall of Fame, and it needs to be similar to how other sports do it. Which who does the Hall of Fames in other sports? It's the media and it's former players. Right now, in such a sport where we're in the infancy of it, we've got to rely on the media people, which happen to be myself, yourself, and other people that we've put around us or will put us around us. And so, but yeah, there needs to be a Hall of Fame, and there needs to be some former inductee, prior inductees and stuff like that. And we'll just see how it goes from there. But yeah, it's a necessity because this is a sport and people need to be recognized, and not only for how great of players they were, but what they did for the sport. That's, if you look at every Hall of Fame, that's what Hall of Fames are about, is, who were the best players and who were the people that progressed it the most or progressed it to a certain point, and those people are in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And that no one can ever take that away from them. So
that right there, no one can ever take that away from you. I love that. I'm all for it. That's what I said earlier. The ranking system gets a lot of flack. Some of your articles get a lot of flack, but as far as I know, you're the one that's doing it, and people can contribute, and I know many have, and it's in its infancy in itself. So as it develops, as it progresses, as this podcast develops and progresses, I look forward to seeing, 10, 15, 20 years from now, going back to what we put together and just seeing it thrive and seeing it far more surpassing what it is now. And it's all about that legacy. So I'm excited, man. I'm looking forward to this weekend. And I guess we'll just leave it at that. And We'll probably reconnect during the event and definitely for the recap. So we'll just go ahead and end the conversation there. Alrighty, so that was a precap, probably a very thorough one, but I'm totally fine with that, of the, I guess we can call it the second annual Dodgeball Tribune, this one being the Invitational and the draft, which is really exciting because, as you can tell, if you've listened this far, we went through pretty much every single player and team that's going to be there, and this is by far a very hand-picked, select, almost want to say best of the best players competing for the cash prize and the glory and just a chance to play dodgeball yet again in wake of Elite and Worlds being done. And short of jinxing myself, I still want to say I cannot wait to be there to actually watch some good dodgeball. That being said, I would love to interview people in between the events. If you listen to any of the most recent recaps, primarily the Bells of the Ball recap, as well as the Elite Nationals, I think that was one of my most favorite episodes, was just being able to talk to people in the middle of the event as it's going on and getting that energy captured and being able to produce that as part of the recap process or series or whatever you want to call it. And honestly, I can think of no better way to end season 2 with the 50th episode being kind of a circular capture of the Tribune, because that's kind of what helped me really start to establish the flow and what I wanted to do with the podcast overall. I can interview people all day long, every day, every episode, no problem. But I also really appreciated the opportunity to get to meet new people, bring together panels, talk to the people in other regions, and cover the significant events that took place this past year. And I'm more than happy to do again. And also based on the feedback from the surveys I've got, doing it with other people, and just seeing how we can cover the glorious, wonderful awesomeness of dodgeball that's taking place for 2019. That being said, even though this season formally concludes with this series, I'm still planning on covering the LA Classic if time permits, being that it's the holidays and I just need some time to, not podcast, but also do want to finish the part 3 of the OG panel. So there's some episodes that might come after this is released in its entirety, which would be, I think the next week would be the following episodes 2 and 3, or parts 2 and 3 rather. But we'll see. Again, this is something I do for fun. It's a hobby. It's a passion. Love doing it. So don't be surprised or mad if there's a couple of outlier episodes in between now and season 3 next year. But that all being said, if you want to be interviewed, going back to that little tangent, let me know. I will probably camp out in a booth. I'll try to find people. But if you really want to be interviewed, and I suggest doing so, hit me up and we'll coordinate times. That way I don't miss you, because there's so many people I did not get a chance to talk to during Elite Nationals, and I feel like now that I'm not playing or reffing, I can make up for that. So if you're listening and you're playing tomorrow, I guess depending on when this ends, good luck, stretch out, drink water, hydrate, have fun, and we'll catch you in the coming episodes. Give me my password.
What are you trying to log into?
dodgeballblog.com. I haven't used this thing in forever, and forgot password's not doing anything for me.